Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt here again. If you're new to the channel, guys, go ahead and subscribe and let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about the economy and do we think we're going into a Great Depression 2.0? And first, we got to figure out what was the Great Depression. Well, it was a stock market crash, guys. The Great Depression started essentially 1929 to 1941, and it pretty much began at the end of the Roaring Twenties, guys. It was a major stock market crash, as we all know. Um, so what we have to figure out is what would make us go into a Great Depression 2.0. Well, as you guys have heard before and hear online a lot, is that we're pretty much in an everything bubble, as it is, guys. You've got real estate market all time high, guys. You've got stock market all time high. You've got you know gold, silver all time high, record highs, and if you want to include crypto as well. You start looking at all these asset classes, and you start looking at the fact that they're all heavily pumped. They're all in major bubbles now, and the fact is that we're pretty much living in two types of economies, where you have the people who are ultra rich or people who are wealthy that own these assets, and then you have people that are actually that don't own anything, that are just living day to day lives, barely surviving, treading water as is. They're struggling. We literally live in two different economies, two different worlds essentially. You have the elites or the people that are upper middle class and above benefiting off of all these assets, and then you have the people that are struggling. They're not buying the assets. They're not benefiting. They're not getting all the asset appreciation. They're not getting all the capital gains off any of these assets. So two different worlds, two different economies. But the reality is, though, is that you have a upper class people who are pretty much the haves and the have-nots. That are lower, say 90% of the economy. The why I'm thinking we're going to go into a Great Depression 2.0 is because you have a large amount of people, struggling. I mean, the bottom 90% of people are struggling really bad, and you've got people that cannot sustain themselves. They're struggling for gainful employment. People are struggling to, make ends meet, to cover their rent, cover their mortgage. I mean, this economy is so bad. The real unemployment numbers, we already know, guys, are not real. They're forged. We already know that you know, essentially everything that is a stat that comes from the government has been played with, has been forged, has been altered to benefit whoever's in power. And we obviously know who's in power. So I think what's going to end up happening, the only way that the bubbles end, is you're going to have everything crash. And like, whereas the Great Depression, you had just a stock market crash. Well, now in 2025, we're in a everything bubble. So if everything crashes, real estate, stock market, crypto, hard assets like gold, silver, if all this crashes and we go into a deflationary moment or time, you're going to start seeing all the assets crash, and it's going to be a Great Depression 2.0, maybe worse than the original Great Depression. It's going to be a lot worse because this isn't going to be just the stock market. It's going to be everything. And so you'll start having the people that, they're at the bottom, 90%, the have-nots, we call them. These people are going to struggle, continue to struggle, because we all know the government's not here to protect you. The government's not here to, bail you out. They're here to bail out the banks. And so we obviously know by, history repeat itself. If you look at the 08, 09 crash, the, you know, Great Recession is what some people call it. The government bailed out and spent trillions of dollars bailing out the banks. And as you see in 2020, and with that whole incident, again, the government bailed out the banks and institutions and left the average Joe, the bottom have-nots, to fend for themselves. Essentially, they sprinkled gave us some crumbs, and gave them the whole cake. So, what I think is going to end up happening is over the next probably year, 2 years, 3 years, as the economy starts to essentially deflate away. It already has been happening. Everything peaked out in 22, 23, and it's been kind of declining. So I think we're already in a recession right now. I think, the government's not saying it, but we're already in a recession. I mean, you can look around. Businesses are closing. Mom and pops are closing down. Major companies are redlining, um, early bankruptcies across the board, and the bottom 90% of all businesses. Top 10 businesses are still showing profit margins because they all get bailouts and grants from the government. So if you're not on the list of getting grants from the government, you're probably in the red or about to be in the red. And as a lot of these major companies are, anyways. So what I think is going to end up happening over the next couple of years is you're going to start seeing a lot of these, the mom and pops are going to start going away continuously every year, year after year, month after month. Whereas the major corporations will continue to show profit. They're going to pretty much gobble up the market. And eventually there will have to be a crash or a war started. And so you're going to have Great Depression 2.0 or a WW3 type scenario. And that's all a major distraction as well. So use that as a distraction to pivot off of the fact that, everyone's hurting, everyone's, struggling financially, economically. Because at the end of the day, as you guys watched my last video, we're in an economy now where it takes 2 and 3 jobs, 2, 3 incomes just to survive. So in this economy, as you guys obviously know, let me know in the comments below, how many jobs do you have? That's the going norm. I remember growing up, my dad, he used to, he had his main job, like he worked somewhere, and then he had his business on the side, and that's how he took care of us. So now, he essentially had 2 jobs, but now it's a growing norm. That was if you wanted to live in luxury, right? You wanted to live upper middle class. Now it's an essential. It's essential you have 2, 3 jobs just to make it. So let me know what your second and third job is. Or who knows, you may not even have a job. I mean, this economy right now, people are struggling so bad that they can't even find gainful employment. Gainful employment is becoming few and far between as well. I mean, people just can't find one job to pay the bills, let alone have to find a second or a third job just to sustain themselves in this economy with the inflation rate. So again, things aren't sustainable, guys. There's going to end up being a massive bubble collapse. They're going to have to collapse everything to restart everything. Things are going to have to get restarted because houses cannot continue to go up as the way they are. Stock market cannot continue to rise as like it is. Crypto as well, gold, silver, it's going to all continuously go up and into infinity, where they're going to have to bring the asset prices back down so the average Joe, the average person can buy in to continue to dangle the American dream in front of everybody and let them know that, hey, you can have the American dream if you want to. You can. You just got to work really, really hard and you can attain it if you want. But in order for that to work, in order the American dream to work, asset prices, houses have to be affordable. And then if they're not affordable, people start to lose sight, lose hope, and then they can't continue to, they will not want to be productive in society. Along with food prices as well. Food prices have to come down. Not everyone can work 2, 3, 4 jobs to sustain themselves. So when the asset prices drop, real estate, crypto, stock market, gold, silver, even the bonds market, then you're going to start looking at a major deflationary moment, massive collapse, Great Depression 2.0. The government's going to step in and they're going to print more money, and then it's going to bail out everyone else, and you're going to have more inflation. So essentially, inflation's not going away. It never will. And the only other way I see this not happening is if they pivot to they pivot to a WW3, a war type event, trying to distract everybody. That's another thing they could try to do. Just distract everybody enough to where they can move some stuff behind the scenes, collapse everything quietly while there's a war over here. Create the war over here, and then reset everything quietly. And then that way, when the war is over, everyone wakes up and they're like, oh, wait, everything got resetted. Yeah, your money in the bank's worth nothing now. So I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think actually is going to happen? Do you guys think we're headed towards a Great Depression 2.0 or a major war? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. I appreciate it very much. It helps me out a lot. And stay tuned for the next one, all right? Peace out.